Hello, I'm Madeline from Sheen Slings, and this is the Nuna Cudl, which has been sent to me by a lovely lady from Facebook to review. So first thing to say about it is, it's massive! Look at the size of it! I've tried to roll this up neatly, and this is about as small as I can get it. It's absolutely enormous. So let's open it up, and I'm going to go through it from the waistband upwards and talk you through all the features, then show you how it works in some different positions and different sized babies, talk about how I would expect it to work realistically versus what is said in the manual, and then I'll talk about what it costs and if I think it's worth it. So starting off, this goes on, it's an internal harness carrier, so it goes on a bit like a harness. You put it over your head first and then we do the waistband up. So starting at the waistband, actually the waistband is a big, long, continuous piece of very wide, very soft, very flexible fabric with Velcro. So actually a lot like the old Ergobaby 360 waistbands, which they don't offer anymore. It is really wide and really squashy, so you can actually get a good fit for a lot of different shapes here. But it is quite hard to do up with the Velcro. You've really got to get it nice and snug and nice and tight for it to be supportive. It's sort of too easy to end up with that too loose and not be able to really adjust it because you've got to undo all the Velcro to adjust it. But if you can get it nice and tight, it's going to be a bit more supportive. So I've got that on, and yeah, as I said, will fit a wide range, but it is very wide. So if you don't have a lot of space here, you might find this, it is quite flexible, but you might find this doesn't work so well if if you're quite short torso or don't have a lot of space around your waist. But it is accepting of quite different shapes and sizes. I should say mine's nearly all the way back to the end of the Velcro, but I guess you can probably, a lot of people will be thinner than me, can probably overlap and go further and just have a bit hanging off because there is quite a long, wide bit of Velcro to aim for. It will go wider. I don't think it goes very wide, but it will go quite a bit wider. And then another thing to notice on the waistband is we have got a pocket here. We've got a zippered pocket, plenty big enough for phone, key, wallet, probably not a lot else. And then let's move on to the carrier. So here is the carrier. The first thing to say about the panel is it is very structured. It is by and large actually a mesh material, if I bring this in close. So it's a mesh, but it is quite a thick mesh. So while it is mesh, and again we've got mesh here, but we've got loads of padding. So while quite a lot of it is mesh, it is quite warm actually. It's quite warm, and it's warm because it's quite bulky. The bit between you and baby is, the sort of, again, this mesh. It's quite a thick, squishy mesh. I should say it's soft. It doesn't feel at all plasticky or rough. It's really very soft and very strokeable. It's actually quite similar in feel, particularly this outer material, to the Ergobaby Breeze. Maybe not quite as soft as the Ergobaby Breeze, maybe more like the slightly older Ergos, but still perfectly soft. I wouldn't have a problem having this, maybe not against a newborn, but certainly against a baby. Yes, and then we've got these cottony bits, and they are really soft brush cotton. We've got padding at the legs here. So this carrier is designed to do 3 positions: inwards, outwards and back. I'm going to show you inwards and outwards, and I'll talk about back at the end. And it will apparently do a newborn, and how it does, so let me show you how it does a newborn, is we have inside here, it velcros out, we have this little zip, and this zip attaches into here, and we zip this up, and this creates a sort of like a riser, like an internal booster. So some carriers used to offer like cushions. Instead of a cushion, this just sort of has an internal zipped in booster, and it tidies away neatly when you don't need it anymore. So now you can see all of this part is now bypassed, and baby's going to sit really high. So if you have a newborn, they're going to be able to sit really high. It doesn't hurt, they're a little bit smaller. The other thing you do for a newborn is there's like a little button here, and we close it, and that just makes a little bit less space around the leg holes, makes this bit a little bit tighter. And I've tried it with and without. I'm not sure it makes the hugest amount of difference, but the instruction manual says to do it, so we'll do it. So now I'm going to get my newborn. So bear in mind with a newborn they've still got to be wide enough to sit around here. Now my doll is around the size of an average 6-week-old and she's very good at splaying. I would say a true newborn might really struggle to get their legs that wide. I would say more realistically it's probably more like 4 to 6 weeks where you'll really get a newborn wanting to sit like this. And then we bring the panel up and around and we will do it up. So the key with this, because it is an internal harness carrier, you fit it mostly to you first. I haven't talked about back and the shoulders, but I'll talk about that in the back a bit. But you do want to leave a little bit of looseness to allow you to get these clips done up. These, in this respect, it's really similar to the Baby Bjorn. You fit it to you and then you do the clips later. One of the big differences is actually we've got these magnetic guided clips. So in here there's like a magnet and it really helps you find. So it's much easier to get these clips on. With the Bjorn, sometimes it takes a few attempts to over and back. It's easier to get on. You've got to release and really sort of wiggle it off. I find them sort of slightly harder to get off. But now I've done it a few times, I'm getting the hang of it. So they're nice and easy to get on. And then we're going to put these on. And again, up here we have toggles, so we can make this tighter if we want to make it a little bit closer. So there we go, we've got our newborn in. I'll talk you through some of the other bits on this carrier. So we have this bit that the manual refers to as a head support. I have it folded down because it's coming up to the back of my baby's neck, which means they have enough support and they're also supported in terms of how they're sat, and their head rests against me, which is perfect, and they've got loads of space around their face to breathe. In the manual, it says to have this up, and it in fact says it in several places with big warning signs that it's really important to have it up. I don't like this. I don't like this at all because now there is very little space around my baby's face to breathe. And in fact, then they point out there's a hood here, so now we could also get the hood out. So unpop is out here, hood comes out, and now we can put this hood up. And honestly, how is baby supposed to breathe now? I really don't like it. Also, even if I was using the hood down, I think I should point out that the bits for this to pop on are here, here, and here. It is really hard for me to do up. To like physically get on, line up and push on requires probably more flexibility than I really have. Normally on carriers they're sort of somewhere where you can reach them. But anyway, maybe different body shapes might be able to reach them. So I don't love that they're suggesting that we put this up because I think that's really going to reduce baby's airflow. I would recommend it down, but maybe, as your baby grows, you might need it up to support the head, but my standard rules are no higher than the middle of the ear, so we don't restrict airflow. And we don't put pressure on the head and prevent their reflex to push back if they are experiencing low oxygen. I think there's going to be periods in time when you're not going to be able to support baby's head. You're going to have to make a choice between supporting baby's head and them being able to breathe, and that does not endear me to this carrier. That's not a choice anyone should have to make. And my choice would be to not use this carrier if that is the choice I have to make. More things on this. So this head support, you can have it down, you can have it up. You can actually remove it. So if you don't need it, if baby is supported fine and you want to lose some bulk, you can actually zip this completely off, which is quite nice. I'd probably take that option out. So now I have this on, what do I think? Well, oh, no, sorry. Haven't talked about the shoulder straps. So shoulder straps are very, very wide and very, very well padded. They aren't very malleable. They're quite sturdy. So they sort of just are they're quite rigid. And then they make a H shape. So they can't cross. They just make a H shape, and you can tighten them through here and loosen them. It's quite a bit awkward. You've got to get your hands underneath there and flick it back. But actually, usually as you take baby out, it's a bit easier to wiggle around to do that. Very hard to loosen it with baby in. Yeah, so H shape, doesn't knock across. For me, this is insanely uncomfortable. And as I said, the biggest part of my job is I help people with carriers they're uncomfortable in. people bring carriers, all sorts of carriers, and I'm really good at tweaking and adjusting carriers to make them more comfortable. And I have just spent the last half an hour attempting to make this carrier more comfortable for me. And I've got it as comfortable as I can. I'm a lot less uncomfortable than I was. My thing is, it's running in a H shape, they're running straight. It's about 2 inches higher than my bra strap. It's actually the lowest it can go. I can't get it any lower. And I'm not comfortable. It's got such a nice waistband. I thought more of the weight would be running through my waist, but with the really sturdy shoulders, actually it's really top heavy. And that's often a symptom of internal harness carriers. Internal harness carriers do struggle to get more of the weight on your hips, no matter how good or not good the waistband is. More of it will rest on your shoulders just because less of baby is resting inside onto the waistband because of the internal harness. More of it's resting upper body. The result is this, each time I'm putting it on, I'm starting to get back pain within a few minutes. And as I said, I know how to adjust it. It's just that it's not adjustable. It's not, you know, I can't adjust it any more than I have. So it doesn't fit me personally. And actually, that's going to be the case for a lot of people because the rigidity means there just isn't a lot of adjustment you can do. Yeah, so it might be somewhat comfortable for some people, but ultimately other similar carriers that offer much the same things like the Ergobaby, even to an extent the Bjorn, but again that's an internal harness, so again it suffers from a lot of the same problems, but really the Ergobaby, the Beco Gemini, the Tula Explore, all of these carriers will do all the same things, actually if not more, are more flexible, give a better fit to a wider range of adults, so would be much better options than this carrier. So I said I would, I'm going to talk through more positions and sizes in a minute, but I said I'd also talk about price. Price-wise, this is £150, which means it's really equivalent to the Ergo, the Tula. It's quite a lot more expensive than the Beco Gemini, and honestly, if you have that money to spend on a carrier, don't spend it on this one. One of those is much more likely to fit you and will offer you so much more options. So, carrying on from the newborn position, let's slide my baby out and we will see how this carrier transforms and adjusts. So the magnetic buckles I do really like because you can see that was quite actually easy to go. So as we make this a bit bigger, we take the infant booster off. This folds into this Velcro and the corners tuck in so it's completely disappeared, and we let these little buttons out. So something else I should say about a newborn, that was really high. So, and they say you should carry on using the newborn setting to 4 months. I think in reality, a lot of babies will move a lot earlier. But then they may not actually fit sitting in the bottom of the carrier yet. So this is my bigger baby. He is about the size of a 4-month-old. And he sits in the bottom very, very beautifully. But yes, I think for a lot of people, they're probably going to be moving more like 2 or 3 months. And then actually in practice, as I said, I doubt you would use this before a month because I don't think baby would spread their legs that wide. Actually, it's interesting that in terms of the width of the carrier in the bigger setting, it's actually not much wider. It's only a little bit wider. So we haven't gained much width. We have gained some length, but we haven't gained much width. And that brings me on to another thing about longevity of this carrier. So you can see this baby's about the size of a 4-month-old. Not quite supported knee to knee. In fact, I think he would have been supported knee to knee when he was about 3 months. And then he's only going to get longer and bigger. So this carrier apparently goes up to 16 kilos, apparently lasts your baby till 2. Absolutely no way, we haven't got the width to support that. In fact, I think it's extremely unlikely you're going to get past a year before baby starts to be too long of leg, really drooping, and consequently it feels really heavy. Added in with the inadjustability of the shoulders, it's going to feel really, really heavy, really much earlier than it should, or then certainly than it advertises it should. So we've set this up for a 4-month-old. And then in terms of the other positions this carrier does, it does offer an outward position and it offers a back. The manual says outward from 6 months. In practice, I think a lot of babies are ready like 5 months or so, but it's also going to depend on your baby whether they sit. to adjust to do the outward position, there's actually a strap inside here, and I have been trying all morning to see if I can do it without taking baby out, without having to put baby down. Unfortunately, it's just too tight and I just don't seem to be able to. And again, that is something that really puts me off this carrier compared to something like the Ergo, the Beco, the Tula, all of which where you can do it without putting baby down. And the reason for that is because outward facing is quite a short-term position. So you want to have baby when they're awake and you want to be able to switch. And it's hard to be able to switch back to inwards or switch back and forth if you've got to put baby down, because what if you're out and about and you can't put them down? So actually having something where you have to take baby out is quite a disadvantage. Okay, so showing you what I've done. I've reached inside this carrier, which I can do now, there's no baby in it, and I've found this strap and I've moved it from the first loop to the second loop, and the result is that's pulled this in to give an hourglass shape or a bucket seat, which I can then pop my baby outward facing into. So again, this baby is about the size of a 4-month-old, and actually they fit in this position really, really well. So while the manual says 6 months, I think providing your baby fits is large enough and they are developmentally ready, so they've got really strong neck support. I could see this being used slightly earlier. Also, I could see them growing out of it sooner. Because I got this tighter for a newer baby, I'm going to have to make that a bit looser. So loosen that off and tighten that up. There we go. So now we have outward facing. And then the back carry, actually you would start as if you were inward facing, you would put baby in just as you would inward facing, and then you would slip your arm out, one arm down, the so-called walk like an Egyptian method, linked to the bangle song, and then slide your baby round to your back. A lot of people find that method for getting a baby on the back alright faff, because you've got to completely load them in, then shimmy them round, and you often aggravate your baby. I actually have a video of that with the baby Bjorn, with my daughter, and I accidentally elbow her in the face, because it is quite a faffy method, and it's very hard not to accidentally elbow your child in the face. Compared to the other carriers I've already mentioned, the Tula, the Ergo Breeze, the Beco Gemini, these are all much easier to get on your back. They are all more adjustable, they're all going to last longer. So what do I think of this carrier? Honestly, I'm really glad I got to try it, because it's one I've been, people have asked me about a lot. I feel, so Nuna are known for being a pram manufacturer, and honestly I feel like they're trying to make me wear a pram. It feels like I'm wearing a pram. It is so bulky. It is not comfortable. I'm not comfortable. Even the length of this, making this video has hurt my back. You know, there's a lot of, there's clearly a lot of great design in here, but it feels like it's been designed by someone who is a pram manufacturer. They've gone for, we need these features, we need this functionality, magnetic clips, you know, clips to do this, clips to do that, adjustments to do that, rather than really thinking about comfort and ergonomics, and how they clearly addressed and thought about baby's ergonomics, but really how it feels and how it feels to wear. This feels like a massive contraption. Feels like I'm wearing a massive contraption. And for £150, when you compare it to the Ergo Omni Breeze, which is less than half the weight of this, the Beco Gemini, which is actually less than a quarter of the weight of this, and a quarter of the volume, or the Tula Explore, which is really soft, and again, somewhere between those two in weight. All of them are so much lighter, almost so much more adjustable, fit a wider range of bodies, and actually that's something I've not really talked about too much in terms of width of bodies. I mean, there's a fair bit I can tighten by, so it will go down a fair bit smaller than me. I should say I am a UK 12 or 14, UK 12. There isn't so much strap here, so I think this would definitely go out to say like a UK 20, but I don't think it would go out much further. And even then, you know, you're not going to have much to pull back, and that's not going to feel like you've got so much space to pull over your head, so I don't see it fitting plus size parents at all well. And when you compare it to the ones I just listed, they fit a wider range of parents. They'll fit larger parents, they'll fit smaller parents, and it will just, And yeah, as I said, while this will go tighter, it's so bulky, a smaller frame than mine will be even more inundated by it. So I can't find myself recommending this carrier. I don't see that there will be many people that this would be the best option for, compared to any of those others which just offer you so much more. So I hope that has been helpful. If you have any questions about this carrier, please let me know. If you've got it and you would like help trying to get it as comfortable as you can, again, let me know. I'm really happy to help. Bye.